Hi guys, just give us 20 seconds to check if everything is fine. Okay, I guess everything is fine. Before we start off today, couple of announcements that I would like to make. This is the last session for CAT 2018. Just before that, we will have the CAT analysis coming up on Sunday. Do share and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and please do like us and follow us on Facebook for all our notifications. There is a specific reason why I'm telling you the notifications, because next week onwards we have quite a few sessions which are lined up. Uh, After today, we will have on Sunday live CAT analysis. We will have ARKS from Career Launcher, Rajesh from 2IIM, Shashank from Learningroots, and Bharat from 2IIM. All of them doing CAT analysis, slot 1 as well as slot 2. Further, on Monday, we have SDA Bocconi coming and speaking us for a special college edition of our prep talk. On 27th, which is on Tuesday, we have a discussion on HR, where we have a senior HR, a director of HR from 91 Springboard coming and speaking, along with a recent entrant into the HR training process. On Thursday, we have an investment banker speaking with us about how investment banking professions as such will be there. And on Friday, we have somebody from Amazon who is coming and speaking to us about how product management works, especially marketing in digital world. Okay, so we'll start off this session today. Before I start off, couple of things which are there. Rajesh could not make it because there was some problem with the scheduling as such. So some mess up which happened. Shashank has logged in, logged out. We are trying to solve his connection problem. So as and when he joins in, we will log him in directly as such. We do have ARKS Srinivas, who's the CEO of Career Launcher, with us. And I think it's perfectly apt also that we start with him, because ARKS is a IIM Calcutta alumnus. Okay. And IIM Calcutta is setting the paper this year. So ARKS, what is going to be the paper on?
I think let me first dispel this notion that if IIM Calcutta is convening the paper, which is coordinating and convening the paper, it is IIM Calcutta alone which makes the paper. It is never that way. It's always a group of faculty members from the 4 IIMs typically who form a CAT committee, and therefore the paper is made. Having said that, you're right. IIM Calcutta, since it's a convening paper, will have the slightly higher chance of tweaking questions, making it easier or difficult according to what they think it is, because there will be more faculty members involved, because the paper could have probably been made, not necessarily made, but kind of finalized at the campus of IIM Cal. So now, if you ask me what is it that I'm expecting, frankly, not because it's IIM Calcutta, but because of how you look at the last CAT papers for the last 3 years, I suspect that the verbal RC section could be a wee bit tougher, which means about 1 or 2 questions could be more difficult than what it was last couple of years, which means cutoff will be lesser. DALR, I suspect, will be very similar to what happened in the last 2-3 years. And quant will be more trickier, more fundamentals based than more concepts based than formula based, according to me. Again, given my bias about IIM Calcutta, but I don't think it's going to change too much. I have always been that last year was an aberration, frankly, but I think the paper will be slightly more difficult than what it has been in the last couple of years.
Okay, we'll try to connect with Shashank if we can do it. Shashank, I would like to. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Okay, we'll come back to Shashank as and when we can. Okay, before we proceed about how the difficulty level as such is going to be. See, ARKS, I'll just like to show our viewers one thing, which is the trend in the last 2 years CAT. Okay, these are the scores which are there. I will also share this with on our YouTube channel. It will be available as part. I have tried to made it try to look at the scores in VARC over the last 2 years at different percentiles, 99.5, 99, etc., and DILR and quant. And if you look at the overall scores, now one thing which I was looking at was 2017 VARC. The scores are compressed. I mean, they're closer to each other. Like the difference between 70 to 99.5 percentile is smaller compared to in 2016. What do you think is the biggest challenges which is going on?
See, I think this is very natural. If you ask me, it's very, very natural. If the paper is easy, at the higher level, the scores will zoom up a lot more. But the average numbers will almost always remain same. If you notice, one very interesting thing, the 80 percentile number doesn't change too much.
True.
And
I'll show it again.
Yeah, if you can show it.
You can keep on speaking. Keep on speaking, ARKS.
So that is one. Even if you look at the change, it's about 3 marks change at that 80 percentile typically. 3 marks, 3 marks, and 3 marks on a 3 sections will come down to 9 to 10 questions, 9 to 10 marks overall, which is exactly what happens at the 80-85 percentile level. But what happens when it goes to 99.5 is that, 500 to 1,000 students do a far better job than, let's say, a bulk of your 30-40,000 students. If you remember, 10 percentile is 20,000 students, 24,000 students probably. So it's only bound to happen. In fact, if you look at it from the lower level also, when it goes, if it's very difficult paper, zeros will be quite a lot of it. But the chunk of it between 60 to 90 percentile, I don't see too much of a change in each of the sections except about either 1 question difference or 2 question difference. When I keep saying, and you will find me saying this again and again, when I say that something is either going to get tougher or easier, I expect that instead of 13 easy questions, there could be 11 easy questions. The other 2, instead of being easy, would be more moderate or more difficult. I think CAT has reached a position in the last 4 years which is hitting a sweet spot, very similar to GMAT or a GRE or a SAT or an ACT, all the international exams, which is exactly similar to NMAT if you ask me. Very, 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 very specific, where they are able to hit a very nice sweet spot where they're just replicating the previous year's papers. So I don't see too much of a change.
So, ARKS, what do you think? I mean, like you are saying that it's going to be the very similar trend to what it is going to be last year, probably a little bit, like 1 or 2 questions here and there overall. So should people target a score? Like I need to attempt 20 questions in VA or 25 questions in VA. I need to attempt only 16 questions in DI. I need to attempt 20 questions in QA.
I hope everybody who's very serious about CAT is listening to this question, and therefore my answer. I want to say that I am very clear about this question. You cannot do 2 things in an exam. You cannot plan your percentile. Okay, you can't do 3 things. You cannot plan your percentile.
Very true.
Not dependent on you. You cannot even plan your scores unless you want to get 3 marks, 6 marks, 9 marks kind of things. And you cannot even predict the number of attempts that you can make unless you want to make it random attempts. All that you can do in a real exam, in an especially competitive exam, is to plan that 60 minutes of your time for each of the sections. If the paper is very difficult, you will automatically reduce your number of attempts. If the paper is easy, you will automatically increase the number of attempts, provided you have had a plan to read all the questions. In fact, my golden mantra to all students of CAT and any competitive exam has been one single thing, Vivek. And that is, boss, whatever it is in your life's strategy, that strategy should mean that it should allow you to go through all the 34 questions or 32 questions in each of the sections that exist. As long as you do that, solving is a game which is a little difficult in an exam. it also emotionally draining sometimes. But never go into an exam thinking that I want to do 34 questions or 25 questions, especially when you are saying this for DI or quant. Last time, what happened, if you remember, quant, everybody thought that if you get about 50-55 marks, it's very good. But last year, the paper was so easy that if you didn't do 25, you wouldn't have got 99%. So when you go with a preconceived notion, it's going to be bad.
Okay, and very similar question to this is what we have seen is that from the mocks, usually, and I have seen this is from the mocks, people's attempts usually decrease. People become a little conservative because this is, the reality. This is the actual one. Have you seen that something is that the reason why some of you may not be able to hit those levels which you actually hit in mocks?
Frankly, the reverse happens for the toppers.
Yeah.
For a
No, I'm talking about attempts. I'm not talking about percentage.
I'm talking about attempts only. Instead,
Okay.
very interestingly, what you're saying is a topper. See what happens again. This is whether it is career launcher, whether it is time, whether it is IMS, whether it is anybody else. And I'm speaking for the rest of the world also because I have known them. Uh, Typically, we tend to make the mock a little more difficult than probably what the cat is. Typically, not only difficult in terms of the real difficulty level, it is a little more vague also. See, please understand that if you look at the real papers over the last 18 years, almost all questions except one or two are really vague. But अगर आप CL के mocks, time के mocks, IMS के mocks देखोगे, you will see that there will be at least 2-3 sets in DI. You can't even do anything about it. Questions in quant will be very difficult, or verbal questions which are a little more ambiguous than what you expect in CAT. So when I'm really talking about the 90 plus percentile guys, when they go into a CAT exam, when they find that the damn thing is more easier than it was in the mocks, they actually tend to do better in terms of attempts itself. But the reverse is true also for the 60, 50, 70 percentile guys.
Okay. Next question, which I would like to ask.
Check.
Yeah, Shashank is here. Shashank, I think you need to adjust your mic a little bit. I think the mic connection is loose with the pin. Okay, I think we are almost there. We will try to get him as and when he comes up as such. Okay, I'll try. Okay, I'll continue with this part as much as possible. The next part, which I would like to ask, which people have been asking us completely, is that does the slot variation works slot 1 to slot 2? We have seen, especially in DILR, at least officially, the paper looks very different, because last year slot 1 was completely, I mean, it was definitely at least one and a half set more difficult than slot 2. I mean, slot 2, six sets or five and a half. Some people attempted 6 sets in DILR, where in slot 1, a 3 or a 4th set itself would have reached a 99 plus percentile last time.
Very true, but please understand, and this is important for every student to understand this, that in the last year, if somebody had got, let's say, 24 marks in slot 1, would have been equivalent to 30 marks in slot 2. That 6 marks difference would have happened. Either the 24 marks would have become 30 in a scaled score, or a 30 would have become a 24 in a scaled score. Typically, they normally increase the scaled score. That's the reason why you will find that slot 1 guys are pleasantly surprised. They thought they did a pathetic score, and when they look at their raw scores, which is actually a scaled score, they would have got higher marks. So yes, there will be a difference. I mean, I don't think IIMs have been able to get it very, very close, like the NMAT, the GMAC, the GREs of the world, because the reason why the others do it, I mean, international institutes do it, is because they do a huge amount of research on the questions.
Plus, they also have it throughout the year. Which means they have a database of questions which are available.
Thousands of questions. And Hamara CAT mein to, you're talking about the same 100 questions, and they don't even, there is nothing like what is it? What do they call that section? experimental section. There is nothing like
Yeah, there's no
experimental.
experimental.
So it is your expertise and my expertise as a test setter, which is trying to make whether two papers are similar or two sets are similar. But scaled scores are perfect. To be honest with you, I think that is thanks to Gate. Gate has been able to do it brilliantly with a lot of research over a lot of years, and our IIMs, CAT guys just copy the Gate, scaled scores methodology, and I think it works beautifully.
My next question is, how much is the slot difference? I mean, you said like in DILR at lower end, you have quite a bit of, I mean, at 24 in first slot was equal to 30 in the second slot,
Correct.
right? So what happens in the other sections? Are they roughly the same?
Yeah, I think last year, I think it was roughly the same for both the sections, except again, together, last year, what we had predicted was, let's say, 99 percentile. If somebody had got 170 in slot 2, for slot 1, 160 would have got the same 99 percentile. There was a mark of about 8 to 10 marks.
Okay, so now this puts slot 2 people in a dilemma because they have seen slot 1 paper. At least not seen, but at least know how it is going to be. And there can be an advantage, there can be disadvantage. I mean, it's almost like what you do in cricket. Okay, so the first innings has already been played. You know how the pitch is going to be, but you don't actually know what is going to come up in the second one because they might unleash a new bowler or there might be rains in between. What do the slot 2 guys do? Should they actually look at slot 1?
I have answered this question in the last 3-4 days, some 10 times, 20 times in various forums.
Yeah.
And I'll answer this question. I think they should go ahead and ask, because if they didn't ask, they would
they will
keep cursing themselves that maybe I should have asked.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think just go ahead and ask. In fact, if unless there is a huge difference, maybe we should also, Vivek, if I can ask you, around one-ish kind of things. Let's start a 30-minute YouTube. I will patch in and tell you whether it is any change.
I have no problems with that. I think Shashank can also join in. I mean, aren't we violating the NDA agreement?
No, we are not going to tell you what questions have
Okay, cool. We'll try this at 1 o'clock on.
The other thing is, I am writing in the second slot, so I haven't technically violated anything. After writing, if I tell you what is the question and what is the answer, then maybe I will come under the violation game. But otherwise, where is the violation at all?
But I think they were very transparent last year, given that they actually released the question paper for the very first time. And I think in 9 years, they have released for the first time the question paper.
29 years.
Yeah. No. At 2008 was that one, right? Last paper based. After that, they released the question paper after 2008 for the first time.
True.
Right. So, I mean, I think that should not be a...
So just to close my argument on this or answer on this, yes, I think go ahead and talk to the first time guys, whatever the information is. But please understand that when you go into your game, it is a new game for yourself. It doesn't matter what the rest of the world has done. I think you will see one thing, Vivek, and this is something which I very strongly believe in. You are not going into some silly game, yaar. You are getting into a CAT exam. For what? You're getting into an IIM. Tomorrow morning, you will be the manager, the CEO, CXOs of the world. You have to be adaptable. Otherwise, you will not be in business any which way in life. I think the starting point is now. That is the first part. So you have to have the basic aptitude. Even if you don't have the aptitude or you think you don't have the aptitude, I think build that aptitude getting into the exam hall.
Okay. Again, I'll just take a couple of viewer questions as such. I mean, a couple of people have asked specifically because it's IIM Calcutta. Do you think number systems will make a comeback into CAT this year?
Sorry, number of?
Number systems, questions in numbers and maths.
I was just talking to my colleague, Gautam Bava, who is also my product manager in Career Launcher. He keeps checking with what happened last time in 2011. Though it was Prometric which was conducting, but IIMC was coordinating.
Yeah.
And that year, the number of numbers questions were higher. The previous year, I think it was 2005 or 2006, again, the same thing happened. So, I mean, if I were to bet on it, I would rather say that, maybe there will be 1 or 2 extra numbers questions. That's all.
Hello?
Ah,
Oh,
finally.
Shashank, finally.
Audio? Great. Chalo.
Yeah,
I'm on my
Shashank.
phone.
Not a problem. Not a problem. The
Chalo,
fact
great.
that you're making it. Okay, Shashank. I think you are the best person to talk about this. ARKS just finished speaking about normalization, the scaling process. I mean, for those who do not, okay, for those who do not know about this, you have to look at the legend of 2010 if you want to look at it. Shashank basically topped every single exam which was there. I mean, when I said top, I mean he basically smashed it. Okay, so I mean, I wrote the Excel paper on the ZAT paper that year, and I could barely. I mean, I think my net score was somewhere around 65 or 70. Shashank scored 125, 130. How
No,
much did he score?
it was not that much. It was, I think, 87 or something.
Yeah, so that is the thing. I mean, and
95.
honestly, I actually thought that I was writing the IIT JEE paper, not the ZAT paper. Normalization affects very badly, used to affect very badly. So if you want to do research over there, you can do it. Now, ARKS has clarified that there's about a 5 mark difference between 5 to 7 marks difference between the first slot and the second slot. Shashank, what is your opinion?
Yeah, I don't know about this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
I mean, that's obvious. Obviously, I mean, ARKS, it's just speculation.
Like there could always be. So we can never say, as in, what exactly will be the normalization and how different the first slot will be from the second slot. There's no point worrying about things that are beyond our control. So uh, the point is you have to go and do justice to your slot. If you do well relative to the other people in your slot, normalization will not affect you. So of course, if I am being honest to myself, then I don't really think that it was entirely the mistake of normalization that I scored less marks. Of course, things went wrong on my end as well. I spent probably a bit more time on quant than I should have. Was not able to leave sets in DI as well as I should have otherwise. So you have to always introspect at the end of the day. You can't really affect the normalization process of the entire of the CAT conducting authority. So I think the best way to do it is to uh, just look at every slot or the morning slot and the afternoon slot as two different slots instead of trying to find trends that connect those two. That is going to be a futile exercise anyway. So
Okay, the second question, which ARKS also answered, and I'll put it to you before I go back to ARKS is, uh, so should the people in the second slot actually go and look at the first slot paper as such? I mean, ARKS has actually said that at around 1 o'clock, we should all do a call like this and discuss what exactly happened in the first slot.
you never know.
So,
It might come out before 12:30 as well. And if someone posts photos and all,
actually, that thing never got resolved, right? I mean, that photograph thing. Yeah. So, what is your view on?
it doesn't make a difference. See, memory-based questions, you can come out with those, but then again, once the deed is done, there is very little that the second slot people can do about the first slot questions. It's a comparison exercise anyway. Broad trends generally tell you the overall picture. So last year, if someone said that slot two was more difficult, as in almost every expert said that slot two was slightly easier compared to the at least the DILR part was slightly easier compared to the morning slot.
Is definitely there.
Was again, I think, a fair assessment. I would not say that it was completely wrong or even the morning slot was equivalent to that of the afternoon slot. It was slightly easier in the afternoon slot, but it doesn't make any difference at the end of the day. So my first thing that, as in, I missed the intro part, but the first thing that I wanted to say was, ideally people should go and attempt those 100 questions that are there in the CAT test, but somehow people end up attempting 102 questions. They try to solve the conundrum of what the percentile will be and what the cutoff will be, which is out of context. So that is something that people should not worry about at all. It's a relative exercise. Even the CAT conducting authorities don't know what the percentile is going to be like before everyone takes the test. So no point worrying too much about all these things. So
Okay. Okay. The last part that we'll look at in this part in today's session would be on what exactly to do today, evening, tomorrow, and on CAT day. Now, we have done a couple of sessions on what exactly you can do over the last 1 month time. I am assuming that you have downloaded your hall ticket. Now, these are some very odd questions which people have put up, like, would I be allowed to wear slippers inside the examination? Would I have to
Oh, just for information, they won't allow shoes into the examination.
yep.
really?
Yes, there is a message which has come in. It says you cannot take bangles, jewelry,
So it is like
what is
the
it?
medical thing.
Rings.
Nothing,
No.
including. Let me read it for you. The message which has come in, it says, "Please be informed that you should carry authorization letter issued
Yeah.
by CAT Center if you carry any of the below mentioned items on CAT test day due to medical reasons. Medical implants like metal and pacemaker, lumbosacral belt, cervical belt, knee pad, medicated tinted glass, eye drops, medicine, glucose
Okay,
water."
okay, okay. So basically, we are going through airport security.
You cannot, airport security will allow your belt and this thing. I don't
Yeah.
think they will allow this also. Definitely not shoes also.
Okay,
Shoes
so
level last year was not there, I think, at our center.
sorry.
Last year it was not there, but it is given this time.
I think uniform across centers this time.
Okay,
Correct.
okay. In related part, I mean, I read an article recently which basically said that uh, cat, the iron centers are saying that cat can be taken anywhere, even your homes, hills, etc. I mean, it came in newspaper. I mean, I can forward the link as such. Okay, not this year, not your hall ticket, etc. I mean, like, doesn't it put up a conflicting message? I mean, what are we trying to do? I mean, like I'm not sure what exactly are we trying to achieve by. I mean, is the level of security that lacks? I,
Shashank.
hello,
Yeah,
hello,
can you?
Arks. Yeah, Shashank, we can hear you.
I think.
Yeah,
I,
Arks. The question is for you. Hello.
I think they are absolutely being paranoid about it. I think sometimes our guys go to the other extent also, and which is exactly what is happening right now. And most centers in the country won't have the ability to even conduct this properly. I mean, if for example, people will have to come somewhere, right? They say don't carry a wallet, don't carry your bag. How on earth will somebody come without a wallet? Where will they leave it in the
Your
first
keys.
place?
I mean, if you're driving a bike, where will you put the
So,
keys?
so I think it is completely silly and stupid. But then we'll have to live with a lot of things which are silly and stupid in this country.
Okay, I'll start with Shashank the next question. Shashank, what will you ask people? Okay, before I ask this, what did you do before the day before you took the test for the first time seriously?
Nothing
What
much.
were
I
you
mean,
doing one day
just,
before?
just just go through the previous year papers. At
I
that
mean, do
time,
you recommend studying on that day, one day
you
before?
can study a bit. As in, if you can sort of switch off and switch on very well, then you can take a break if you want to, if you feel exhausted and stuff. But I always like to be in that zone at least. Can't really detach completely. And of course, people are bound to be nervous. Even the best candidates will be at least a bit nervous. Solving a few questions might help calm down nerves. Mock taking, I don't know. If someone gets especially nervous, looking at the percentile and all, then I would not really recommend taking a full-fledged mock. If you can digest that fact and if you feel that you want to be completely prepared or mentally in that zone that you are taking 3 hour test, 3 hour test before the CAT day, then you can go for that as well. Anything is fine, as in it's not really that big a deal. A few questions here and there, past CAT papers here and there. You can simply go through a couple of things and make sure that you are like sort of you eat properly and you sleep properly the night before CAT, because anxiety is bound to take over sometime in the evening tomorrow. So,
Okay.
but
Aks, what will be your suggestion?
I my suggestion would be, except for verbal or reading comprehension, so to say, where I would expect people to continue reading to get into the rhythm, almost like what Shashank said, to get into the zone. I would say just chill out. What you couldn't do for the last 6 months, 1 year, 3 months, you can't do it in one day, 36 hours, 24 hours. I think it is not a degree exam where you cram up in the last night and vomit in the next day morning. Very, very clearly. That I think somehow most of us have got used to that, degree engineering exam students. I think get out of that, including, frankly, you ask me, even the grads, work experience guys. Tomorrow is the deadline. They put up a night out and finish a presentation
Project.
types.
I mean, that's exactly what happens in work, anyways. Right?
Exactly. So I think you need to get out of that, friends, because this is a completely a skill-based exam, aptitude-based exam. We know it. So my for the last 20 years, I've been saying the same thing. Just chill out, read a good book if you want, go to a movie, listen to some music. Don't talk to people who are negative. That is one important thing. Don't talk to people who are negative and say that, yaar, ye kar diya kya, wo kar diya kya. These are something silly things. Other than that, just to be in the zone, I think I like that word zone. What I have always recommended people is read a little bit of verbal, especially reading comprehension, maybe the editorials of the word, just to keep yourself calm in the nerves. But just spend the time. Try to sleep early. Drink hot water, hot milk in the night before, and sleep a little early. Even if you feel that, people dream about their actual exam on that night of the exam. I'm sure Shashank would have done that himself.
Yeah, definitely.
What were you doing one day before the exam?
I mean,
I know
that's
it's very long back, but yeah, still.
to be honest with you, I almost very very similar to what Shashank has said, but never solved too many questions. I On my own, I had written down all the, let's say, the key formulas for quant, for example. The idea was to skim through it in the morning, so that, just in case you want to go through it. That's one thing I did remember. In fact, I plan to do it, because this time I've not written mocks. I plan to do it tomorrow morning. लिखना तो है, थोड़ा इज्जत का सवाल है, कुछ तो परसेंटाइल आ जाए. I am not Shashank to get 100 percentiles every time. the
Memory.
the other thing is, of course, just chill out, yaar. Kal to bahut bachchon se milna hai mujhe. Likewise, I'm saying, talk to good people, spend a little time, listen to good music. That is, I think, the best thing to do. You need to, while you are in the zone, you should wind it down a little bit, not completely, but wind down. Be mildly keyed up, and forget about the result. Forget about your life. In fact, tomorrow is not the time to decide about all your life. You can decide after the exam is over.
Okay. Shashank, any last advice for people who go to the examination hall and see people cramming through notes? I mean, that is one of the worst things which I can actually see. People actually take books and they were looking at. I mean, I'm not sure how to deal with those people.
It's actually funny, I don't know. I find it quite amusing that people do that. It's good. See, in a way, people are so dedicated, so it sort of even fires you up a bit. That, see, people are like, a lot of people have so much at stake that they are preparing very hard. So you should sort of outperform them, not by doing last minute revision and stuff, but of course being serious throughout the test. That is one thing. Again, once you enter the test, that is not really the place to look at the micro or macro situations. You can't think about future, cutoff,
Past, present,
calls, what will happen, reservations, and everything. People think of everything during the test, which is not really the play, as in the way to do it. As ARKS said, as in, of course, you have a lot of time after the test to think about everything that is macro. During the test, you have to think of just one thing: next question, how you have to solve that question, and do not spend more than 2-3 idle minutes in one go. Just make sure that you are sort of you don't get rigid. You are basically flexible throughout. You are fluid while solving the paper. That's it. If you keep in mind those 1 or 2 things, then I think it's just a mock at the end of the day. You take mocks, you prepare for 6 months, because this journey, because this has to be sort of that sort of an experience, right? You don't take mocks to get percentiles and to get scores and hit 200s and all. You are doing it just to make sure that you are used to that routine and you take it as just another day at your test center.
ARKS, your views?
I echo whatever Shashank has said perfectly well, except one extra statement I'll say. Your brain will freeze when you're writing an exam. Close your eyes, take deep breaths, move on. I think this is very, very important, because at various points of the exam, you can panic, and that panic creates more damage than anything else in the world. I think that is the only thing that I would say. Boss, think of one thing. In fact, I would, before I start the paper, I will write down, don't panic, move on. करके मैं लिख लूँगा on my, the paper, and look at it. If I am not doing well, panicking, 5 questions have gone, I would only look at it if my first 5 are very difficult. The way I look at it is, okay, I have full 59 minutes for 27 questions. Something like that I will think about it. That is the kind of an attitude if you go with, I think you will do a fantastic job.
Okay. I would like to give a couple of instances before we finish, just to add my words. I would like people, if you have some time, to look at 2 World Cup finals. This is 2003 World Cup final, which was basically Australia versus India, where the match was over in the very first over. Right? I mean, we knew that when Zahir Khan gave about 13, 14 runs, the match was over at that particular point of time itself. And the same thing happened in 1999. Basically, in the first half, Pakistan versus Australia, the match was over in first 20, 25 minutes. Okay, unfortunately, Cat is not going to be like that. You have a chance to grind out. Look at Shashank. He attempted at least 10 times to log into the chat today. Okay, we have tried all particular parts. The aim is not to give up. Make sure that you don't get nervous. Make sure that don't put extra pressure which is not there. I mean, if if you are hurting, others are also hurting. Have trust in yourself that you have prepared properly. We will see you on Sunday. I mean, thanks ARKS for coming in. Always a pleasure. Are we doing that mic thing at 1 o'clock?
We should.
Okay, I'll try to figure it out. And Shashank, are you up for 1 o'clock mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, if we can do that, we will try to figure that out. Please do share and subscribe to this channel. As I said, we have a lot of events lined up over the next week. Thank you for joining in. All the best for your CAT examination.
Thanks. And all the best, Shashank. It's always a pleasure to be with you together.
All the best, sir, to you as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
being.
having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.